York. Hello, America. We have a studio audience again today, and an incredible show lined up for you. We were just talking before we went on air that this week marks our 2-year anniversary on Fox News. And we were just talking that everybody in my office, we had a betting pool. And I don't think anybody had 2 years. I think the longest out was like 18 months. So they were like, they'll be done with us by then. Been 2 years. When I first went on the air, it was right around the time of the inauguration. In fact, I think the inauguration was my second day. I'd never done live television before. And my goal really was to wake people up, but really try to piece it all together, try to figure out what was going on. And then I got a disturbing call from a listener who said, I'm giving up, man. I'm unplugging. Because this is just making more and more mad. And when I heard that, I knew that you can't unplug. And you can't get mad. If you get mad, trouble comes faster. So I started something called the 9/12 Project. And it was to reach out and to get together with people and know that you were not alone. Do we have the logo of the 9/12 Project? This comes from Ben Franklin. This was actually our first political cartoon. And it was Unite or Die. Started the 9/12 Project, values and principles. And then, while people were off doing that, I said I was going to try to figure out what was going on. And we installed this phone. I've unplugged it since because I never called. And quite frankly, this year I said, I don't care if they call anymore. I don't really care. We know what's happening. But my goal was to try to figure it out and put it all together. And that's why we installed this, because I don't want to be wrong. I told you at the time, I don't want to believe the things that I tell you. I really don't. It doesn't end well if they're true. I wanted them to call. They never did. Van Jones left the White House in the middle of the night. I didn't want him fired. I wanted to understand. Please tell me what your philosophy is. Don't nudge us into something. Tell me what, come on, stand up and let's have a real dialogue. Let's talk about the values and the principles that you believe in and that the American people believe in. But he went out in the middle of the night and then they never called. A year ago, was it a year ago? Yeah, a year ago, over a year ago, we then went to faith, hope, and charity. Because once I started putting it all together and I knew what we were facing, then I realized we're in real trouble. So we have to go back and look at the things that will hold us together. Faith, hope, and charity. Quite honestly, I painted these. And I didn't really know what this was going to turn into. I just knew that this was the direction that I needed to go. And we put it here on the set. Faith, hope, and charity. I tried to teach myself, along with you, the history of our country. I found George Whitefield. This is Samuel Adams. I didn't even know who he was 2 years ago. He's the beer guy, right? No. Profound faith. Profound faith. Found George Whitefield. George Whitefield led to people like this. Science from Ben Franklin, and a wild entrepreneur, but he also was the king of charity. He gave us the American religion, that there is a God. We're going to all meet him someday. And so the best thing we can do is help each other. But he also gave us charity. He also gave us, besides the first public hospital and the first public university, I believe, he also said, make people uncomfortable in their poverty, to help them get out, pull themselves up by the bootstraps. Then things were really starting to heat up. So last summer, I did 828. I asked you to come to Washington. I told you to begin to expect miracles, that miracles you would witness in your lifetime. On 828, right before, 40 days before, I outlined this, a 40-day and 40-night challenge. It's a blueprint for national survival. It's kind of like National, what is that, National Treasure? With Nicolas Cage, is that the name of the movie? Where they hid the answers. The answers are all there. You just have to have the special glasses. In our case, you just have to read them. You have to just read their words. With a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Divine providence is different than manifest destiny. This means that no matter what happens, good or bad, if we do the right things, if we look at things and say, it's going to be okay, as long as we're in tune with Him, He's not on our side, we have to be on His side. Once that happens, no matter good or bad, no matter what happens, we're going to be fine. And if we are these people, and I ask you to take these steps and try it on for 40 days and 40 nights. Then, right before Christmas, I said there's a town in Ohio that everyone in the media has declared ground zero, a disaster area. I said, I want to introduce you because I look at this town, divine providence. Are they hurting? Oh, like nobody else's business. But we can just focus on that, or we can look at the divine providence and say, that's happening to Wilmington at this time for a reason. I choose to believe that they're going to inspire the nation. And boy, they have sure inspired me. I took a Christmas break, and I came back. This is something I've been working on almost since I was working on this. This was really, as I was waiting for that phone to ring, I'm trying to figure out, how do I put all this together? How do we do it? It's the E4 solution, if you will. This is really not only for you, but this is for me, to make sure that I remain on course, because I need it just as much as you do. How do we solve our problems? The answer isn't that hard. The first part is enlightenment. What does that mean? Is that all about God? Does that mean go to church? No. When did they write the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution? In the age of enlightenment. Well, what was that? Depending on who you talk to, some people will say, well, the age of enlightenment, that had nothing to do with God. That was all about reason. Other people will say, no, it was all about God. No, it was both. For the first time, man said, wait a minute. We have a brain. We can reason. We can look to science. We can look to the facts. But we can also couple that with God. And we could say, divine providence, nature's God and nature's law. That's enlightenment. You put them both together. You use reason. As Jefferson said, fix reason firmly in her seat. That was enlightenment. And when you use reason and you don't care about the answer, you're just looking for the answer. When you fix God and reason, you start to pursue. You start to look for, okay, all right, well, I've got to use God and reason, so I need to educate myself. And if you fix reason in her seat and question with boldness even the very existence of God, again, Jefferson, and you understand the truth has no agenda. It's neither going to prove you right nor wrong. That's not what the truth is for, to make you a hero or a villain. The truth is there because it is the truth. It's unchanging, it's everlasting, it's the truth. You educate yourself using God and reason to empower yourself